All right, sorry it's been a while since I've been reading The Magic Tree House. We left off on chapter 5. If you remember, Jack and Annie are in San Francisco, and there was a big earthquake at the beginning of the story. And Annie fell down into a crack and then was able to get out by standing on some bricks. And then a reporter came and interviewed Jack and Annie, and now they were trying to save some books from a library because there was fires going across the city. So that's where we left off. So now we're on chapter 5. It's called Stop, Stop. Jack and Annie ran up the street to the book wagon. The man was carefully stacking the books in the back of the wagon. He was covered with dust and his glasses were cracked. "Hey, what's the story?" Annie asked the man. Jack couldn't help smiling. Annie sounded just like the newspaper reporter. "I'm moving all the rare books to the pavilion," the man said. "Can we help?" asked Jack. "Sure, there are only a few left by the door," said the man. "Grab them and hurry. The fires on Market Street will soon be blowing this way." Jack and Annie ran into the building. Near the door were 2 small stacks of books. Jack and Annie each gathered up a stack. The books looked very old and fancy. Some even had sparkling gold on their covers. "Wow," whispered Jack. He and Annie carried the books outside. "Careful, please," said the man. "All these books are treasures, ancient Bibles and hand-painted books." The man carefully took the books. I'll show you this before I turn the page. So you can see Jack helping the man carry the books to the wagon. And then the fires in the background are coming closer, so they had to hurry. The man carefully took the books from Jack and Annie's arms and put them in the back of the wagon. "Thanks," he said, pushing his hat back. "Run home now, the fires will be here soon." As the horses started up the hill, Annie waved and shouted, "Good luck!" "I bet he was the librarian," said Jack. He opened his research book and he looked for a photograph of the building that had the books. "Here it is," he said. He read aloud. "People tried to save special things, but they did not always succeed. Rare books from a library were moved to the pavilion building. When the pavilion building caught fire, all the books burned. The building that originally held them did not burn at all." So they're moving the books from a part of town that actually doesn't ever catch fire to a part of the town where they thought the books would be safe. And then the books ended up burning. So that's what Jack just found out when he was reading his book. "Oh no," cried Jack. "Stop, stop!" Clutching the research book, he ran after the wagon. Annie ran with him. "Stop, stop," they both yelled. They ran as fast as they could over the broken cobblestones and up the steep hill. Near the top, their driver finally heard them. He brought his wagon to a halt. "You can't go to the pavilion," Jack cried. "You have to take them back to the building where they were," said Annie. "They won't burn there," said Jack, trying to catch his breath. "The building you're taking them to is going to burn instead." The driver looked at Jack and Annie as if they were crazy. "You kids need to worry about yourselves, not these books," he said. "Go home to your parents. I'll take care of the library." Then the man snapped his reins and went over the hilltop. "Come back," Jack cried. They watched helplessly as the wagon bumped down the street over the rubble. Smoke billowed from the bottom of the hill. "I can't believe it," said Jack. He was close to tears. "We tried, but we couldn't save them," said Annie. He touched Jack's shoulder gently. She touched Jack's shoulder gently. "All those books," his voice trailed off. "Hey," said Annie, "someone's crying over there. Someone with 2 kids. Maybe we can help them." A woman in a blue bathrobe was sitting on a crumbling stone wall, and she was sobbing into her handkerchief. 2 boys with dark hair sat next to the woman. The boys wore dusty, torn pajamas. They were both barefoot. The younger one was watching the older boy write on a rectangular piece of wood with a chunk of coal. Annie pulled Jack over to the family. "Hi, I'm Annie," she said. The 2 boys looked up. "I'm Peter," said the youngest. "He's my brother Andrew, and she's our Aunt Mary." He pointed to his brother, then to the woman as he spoke. Aunt Mary tried to smile through her tears. "Forgive me," she said. "I'm a bit shaken up." "We are too," said Annie sympathetically. "The house caught fire," Peter said. "We escaped," said Andrew, "but we lost most of our things." "We've lost our shoes," said Peter. Jack and Annie looked at the boys' bare feet. They were cut and bleeding. So here's a picture of the boys and the family that Jack and Annie heard crying. You can see their house is crumpled from the earthquake and that they don't have shoes on. "Hey, my boots are just like boys' boots," Annie said. "One of you can wear them." "Take mine too," said Jack. He and Annie started unlacing their boots. "We can't just take your boots," said Andrew. "Then we'll lend them to you," said Jack. He and Annie handed their boots to the 2 boys. Thank you," said Aunt Mary. She started crying again. The two boys put their new boots on. Then Peter whispered something to Andrew. Andrew held out the piece of wood to Jack and Annie. Here's something we can lend you, he said. Jack and Annie read a poem to the brothers. The brothers had written on the piece of wood. There is no water and still less soap. We have no city, but lots of hope. Thanks, said Annie. It's a great gift, said Jack. We needed some hope. It's the only thing we can lend you, said Andrew. Lend, said Annie. She looked at Jack. Oh, wow. They just gave us the special writing, something to lend. Jack smiled. They could go home now. You should go to the Golden Gate Park. That's what the reporter told us, he said to the boys and their aunt. Is that where you're going? Asked Aunt Mary. She had stopped crying at last and looked stronger. We have to go home to our parents, said Annie. Will you be safe? Asked the aunt. Yes, once we're home, we'll be safe, said Jack. Thanks for lending us your boots, said Peter. You're good friends. You're good friends, said Annie. You've helped us more than you know, said Jack. Be careful, said Aunt Mary. We will, said Jack and Annie, and they waved as their friends headed off to the park. Jack sighed. Ready, he said. Yeah, said Annie. I guess we just have to go back the way we came. Jack looked down the street. Smoke billowed up from the bottom of the hill. That might not be as easy as it sounds, he said. All right, so tomorrow we will read chapters 7 and 8. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy and still having a good time with your family. I want you to know I miss you all. And even though I don't get to see you in class the rest of the year, I'm looking forward to doing over Zoom meetings over the computer with you and seeing your faces and getting together. And hopefully when it gets closer to summer, maybe we can plan a meetup to see everybody and say hi and stuff. So I hope you guys are all having a good time, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.